The value of Nigeria's offshore oil and gas production market will grow from $34.18 billion in 2023 to $47.03 billion by 2021, according to a new market research. Now, snippets of the report noted that Nigeria's production of 552.84 million barrels of crude oil, including condensate in 2023 alone, reaffirmed the country's role in shaping the energy landscape. To the power sector now, in response to frequent system breakdowns and extensive outages, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission announced over the weekend that it will hold an investigative public hearing on Thursday, October 24th. Nigeria's electrical infrastructure failed yet again earlier on Saturday, leaving multiple cities without power. Around 8:15 a.m. on Saturday, electricity farms reported that the grid had fallen once again. Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now to discuss this further. Good morning, Mr. Chika. How are you today?
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
We're blueing,
We're bluing, it's a blue Monday. Well, hopefully not literally, right? Thank you. So do you. Let's begin with this, recurring grid collapses. A couple of things we want to know. We know this hearing is expected to be on Thursday. What outcomes can we expect? But more importantly, why are we having this outages?
Nigeria is a very interesting country because Greek collapse has been added to the Nigerian, street vocabulary. Everybody knows about Greek collapse, national Greek collapse now, and that's how it happens in our country. And a lot of times for the odd things or the bad things, that's when everybody knows the lingo. But I mean, let me try and power is a very technical thing. But let me try and see what I can bring it down so much for a lot of our viewers. Use some live day-to-day explanation to see what I can push it out through there. Now, the power system in Nigeria is made up of the generation. They call them the GENCOs. Yeah. That's where you have the generation plants. That's the people that bring up power, they generate the light or the electricity. And they pass it through the transmission company. Transmission company, for our viewers, you go to see those high tension wires, that's where they pass it through from the GENCOs. Now, step it down now to the distribution companies, and that's how it enters my house and your house. Because when it's high tension, it has to come down to transformers and comes down to our houses. Now, the Nigerian power system, we've spoken so much about it on this program, is bedeviled with so many problems. A nation of 200 million people who can only generates almost 4,000 megawatts only for the nation of Nigeria. But that's it, may. For the GENCOs, essentially for this tripartite, triangle GENCOs, transmission and distribution, each of them have their own peculiar problems. For the generation companies, a lot of time you hear that they don't have gas. And even the power they generate, and they're not being paid. And so because of that, they don't have money to replace a lot of their outdated equipment. And stuff. So you see problem there. Now the sick, the sick baby of the tray. The sickest baby of the tray is the transmission company of Nigeria. Now, whereas the GENCOs are in private hands, the DISCOs are in private hands. The GENCOs is still a national asset being held by Nigeria, being run like a public service company. Now, the interview that was done by the MD of the transmission company of Nigeria speaks it all. Says all our equipment are outdated. There are a lot of things that we use there are more than 50 years old. So you can imagine the number one problem. The equipments are all outdated. But you see, you asked me a question, why do we have these outages? Why do we have this system break? Now, the way it is this. The power generation is made up of two elements. Let's say the demand from you and me, and the supply from the GENCOs. Now, for the system to be stable, the demand usually have to match the supply. Otherwise that's the problem. The way I want to explain it to you or to our viewers is this. Let's say you have the popular Nigerian past maneuver generator, the smaller generator, and then it generates power for you in your house. And then that's the supply. And the demand is the electrical bulbs and all those stuff in your house. Just imagine that you go on and put on your 2 horsepower AC on, your microwave on under your past maneuver generator. What do you think will happen? It shuts down immediately. Okay? It shuts down immediately. That is similar to what happens in the national grid. So the national grid works on the basis of the supply from the GenCos and the demand by the consumers. It's not as if something. Each time there's an imbalance in the system trips off on its own to protect itself and for security reasons. That's actually what happens. The same thing happens, assuming that you have a big generator now, and you use other big generator supply to go and power one light bulb in your house. You know what will happen? Both those bulbs are going to burn also. So you have issue of instability again. So each time you have this issue of power outage, national grid collapse, he has to do that things have been tripped off to make sure to protect the whole system. And that's really what happens.
So we're dealing with a case of dilapidated infrastructure. In relation to the capacity it's expected to meet.
Yeah. So we produce 4,000, just bear me with me. You produce 4,000 megawatts, and then the demand over there is 4,200 megawatts. You see the disparity. It trips off because it doesn't balance.
That's an overload.
Oh, yeah, overload. You produce, let's say, 4,000 megawatts, and the demand is less also, 3,000. It's also imbalance. It trips off. That's why sometimes you see light goes off and then it comes up back immediately. You keep wondering whether the people have epilepsy or something like that. It's all trying to balance the system. But when the disparity is so much, the issue that happens is it trips off to protect itself. Now, but one of the things that came up here that has been on the national discussion table is this. The last one that happened on Saturday, they said it happened because of a transformer explosion in Jeba. Transformer explosion in Jeba, far away Jeba, is affecting what happens in Lagos State. It's affecting what happens in Imo State. It's because of the fact that Nigeria is still on one power grid. Mm-hmm. So what affects one part of the nation affects the whole nation. Yeah. Now, that means the request for distributed power systems where you have maybe not to be on one network, East will be one network, Lagos will be on one network, so that what impacts Lagos or Jeba this time will not impact Lagos. But the way it is now is one national system. So that's why people even generate power these days. You have to put it into the national pool for it to be shared. So that's another thing that has to be done. But if you ask me now, of course, all these things on the table, and I saw that later that the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission has set up a hearing to come and explain.
In what ways is it going to?
Yeah, but the issue is that this is not new.
Absolutely not new.
When I saw that, I just say this is like one more opportunity to go and waste Nigerian money because we know the problems of the electricity value chain. We know what the problems of the GenCos are. You know what the problem of the transmission company is. We know the problems of the distribution company. And this is as old as Nigeria. So what else are they going to sit down to talk about?
In fact, I was hoping you would tell me something new about it because this has been, from time immemorial, like you mentioned, we've known this still for quite a bit. And, what expectations are we to have of a discussion around it if it does not tackle the
solutions
problem?
Have been known. The issues of what they call spinning reserves. The issues of backup power systems. All this have been on the table for a long time, but they have not been activated. Even this issue of transmission lines that I said are outdated, Abby, if they tell you the amount of contracts that have been awarded in the past to update all these transmission lines, you will shudder. But the Nigerian things happen to those contracts. People have collected money and have not executed the work they're supposed to do. And that's Nigeria for you. So the TCM people are saying outdated equipment, but a lot of contracts have been awarded in the past. Now, so we thought again that the Siemens solution that we had during the Buhari regime, that was going to be universal, total for the power value chain, was going to help us. But we don't seem to know where we're headed now because it's the same every week, the same thing. This power outage is getting more frequent. In 2024 alone, I think it's about 6 times it happened. If it happened 3 times in 1 week, you can imagine the cumulative impact. And the solutions are there. A lot of people have even said, privatize the transmission company of Nigeria. Another school said, it's a national asset, security risk, and so on and so forth. But they've done some things initially. They have split into 2, and they have the transmission and the control section. They're working independently now. So we hope that will help to that. And investments required are massive. Government is also working to partner with private sector towards changing a lot of those outdated equipment.
Right. So you don't have a lot of faith in this public hearing about to happen, right?
I don't have faith in the public hearing. It's a waste of money, really. Because the things, we know what the solution,
right.
One of the problems, they're as old as the power system in Nigeria. We have known them for 30 years.
Quite a while, yeah.
Just the same thing I thought about in Nigeria, that our problem is not planned. We have plans for everything, but the issue is the implementation.
We know what needs to be done.
The execution is the problem we lack. Yeah, right. We know what to do.
Yeah, we have a few minutes left. Let's look at Nigeria's offshore oil and gas.
Wow.
Production industry projected to hit $47 billion by 2031. Is that just a figure?
No, it's not.
What, yeah. What can we make of
We
this?
understand the dynamics. Then again for our viewers, the oil production in Nigeria is onshore and offshore. Yeah. Onshore is the land and near shallow waters, and then offshore is the higher seas. And then we know that the international oil companies, they call them IOCs, all of them were actually in the onshore before. And then what happened was that because of the issues of insecurity, theft of crude, and breakage of pipes, so many other things that happened there, a lot of them moved their investments from onshore, land and near shallow waters, to the offshore. So it's not surprising, therefore, that this report is it says there's going to be massive growth, because offshore they're secure, they can make the investments required, and then in different land. I don't know, maybe one of these days they should fly. There is like a different land in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. When you land the helicopter on the platform, some people can stay there for 3 months. They don't come out. It's underwater, and they have the food is good. Everything is so they have everything that is there, and that's where they stay to prosper the oil. So I'm not surprised that the report is coming out. So most of the IOCs have migrated to the offshore, and they're making the investments required to increase the Nigerian crude oil production and the gas, which is the new phase Nigeria is chasing now. So this is not surprising.
Yeah. I was going to say crude oil is surely the dominant segment from the study, right, in terms of production.
Crude oil is it always. And I've said it. That's God's gift to us. Crude oil is always, that.
It really is.
Even with the movement towards the renewable energy and clean energy, crude oil, with all projections in the next 30 years, will still be very relevant.
Absolutely.
And so that's that. So we know that, and that's why this is the report has relevance.
And if we look at the competitive landscape, what players are really contributing? I know that Total, for instance, has been a major player here.
Even Shell, that that was divesting from the onshore. When they put out that statement, they said it there that their business now is going to be like offshore, and the offshore business is going to be thrive. And so all of them are moving towards that and making investments required to boost Nigerian crude oil production and, of course, gas as a consequence. All
right, all around good news on that front. Then we're always happy to hear that part of things. So, Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu, thank you so much for being here this morning.